Greetings, people. It's Mr. Pull the Trigger yet again on another episode of the Enlightenment series. On this part 2 of part 3, we want to establish, was Godlove, aka Godwin, really trained? Did Godlove really receive this money from Omoto for fame? Was Jeremiah Omoto really blackmailed by Godlove or Godwin? Or this entire court case, it's all RNG, meant to exonerate Jeremiah Omoto from the main case of the missing child? Is this just a distraction that was meant to strike us off balance so that we can lose focus on the main case? Because remember, no matter what we can talk about today, the day after or any other day, the main case is there's a child that is missing. That child went missing at Mercy City. Mercy City happens to be Jeremiah Omoto's church. So bringing in cases like this is an attempt to try to shift our focus. Like I said before you jump into conclusions, put 1 and 2 together. Was Godlove working with Jeremiah Omoto? Was Godlove really arrested? Is Godlove really in custody? Or is Godlove working together with Omoto for fame? Did they trace Godlove? Did Omoto really give Godlove 1.1 million or 1.3 million to go to South Africa to go and fetch baby testimony? I want you to listen to this video. Listen to the PowerPoints that this brother is raising. And I hope they resonate with you. And I want us to analyze this video after you have watched it. But along the video, pause it when a punchline is hit. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think concerning that specific point. That's the best way we can learn. That's the best way we can investigate this and come to a conclusion that will leave no loopholes or any holes on this sake of information that we have, of this case that we have. Godlove case is just there, dangling and dazzling. We are just going to wash and dry it and leave it for good. Then we'll be back on the main case of baby testimony, which is involving Precious Lungu. There's more that I'll reveal to you that will shock you. But for now, the main questions still remain. What role did Godlove play in this whole thing? What was his position in relation to Omoto's? Because in relation to me and Ruth Matthew, we have made it clear already that there's nothing that transpired. It was just a guy that was attempting to get us involved or frame us up for something that he was probably contracted by someone superior, someone who is a billionaire. So watch this video without further ado, and then let's analyze it and critique it.
Now, the reality is that everybody has the right to believe whatever he wants to believe. Even if you do not share my opinion, there is no problem. I don't have any reason to insult you. Now, this is my opinion on this Godlove issue. My brother, I doubt that guy 100%. I doubt that Godlove. Now, let's look at it from this angle.
No, is it Godlove you are doubting or MC, ladies and gentlemen?
Godlove. No,
okay,
no. I have no reason to doubt MC, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, thank you. God bless you.
I have no reason to doubt him. The guy I am doubting is Godlove. Now, like MC, ladies and gentlemen said after he linked the guy to Mercy City, he hands off. Do you understand? So now, what I want us to look at is this. This guy went to those in Mercy City. Then he said that he can give them a lead that will help them to recover this baby testimony. Then they agreed on a fee and they paid him 1,150,000 naira. Then the guy said that he would go to South Africa to bring this baby. My brother, if you were Prophet Jeremiah, I'm talking to you now, Dada. If you were Prophet Jeremiah, you won't allow that guy to go. I'm not going to give you 1.something million. You go tell me, say you they go South Africa. What if I don't see you again? I will not be so stupid to trust you with that kind of money, knowing that you will be going out of my sight, knowing that you'll be going out of Nigeria. I will not be so stupid to trust you with that kind of money, especially with this kind of sensitive information. That is one of the reasons I'm telling you that I am doubting that issue, honestly speaking. Because
should I also give my own
that person no go.
Continue.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Are you true?
Because as I did like this,
okay.
As I did like this, Mr. Dada, I not go give person 1.something million. He say he want to go bring something for me. Then he tell me say in they go South Africa. I not go leave and make him go. If he tell me say he know where that Peking day, as I don't see the guy with my eye like this, now so they hand them over to police. Now right there they hand them over to police. I can't give you 1 million. Then you can't tell me say you they go South Africa. Then I will not give you the chance to go to South Africa. What if you do not come back? Am I that stupid to allow you go? My brother, I dey smell rat for that thing, honestly.
Okay, should I give him my own perspective?
You can say your bit. Yeah.
Okay, before we receive this brother comedy,
yes, sir.
If you say as you know, if you trust person like that, listen, if you did not play along with him or you not get in touch with him, how will you track him? If I may ask you, sir. How will you track him?
Honestly speaking, now, I don't even believe any tracking was done.
Okay.
Because if you look at the condition...
Don't forget, this was the same question this guy passed to Prof X, that I need to come to South Africa. Do you remember? This God's will. I feel it's not. If you ask me that God's will is not working for Jeremiah, I don't think he's working for any. God's will was a very smart game player. I don't know if you understand.
We can believe whatever we want to. We can believe whatever we want.
We can believe whatever we want to be. Yes, that is my own opinion. So, but now we can just assume, but we don't know the truth. Maybe as time goes on, all those things will still review. The question is that
Mr. Dada,
when they transfer the first money, maybe that is when they started.
Me, sir.
Okay.
Excuse me, sir. There is another reason why I said I don't believe this thing. Now, let me tell you. When that guy was brought to the court,
yes, did
you notice how that guy was looking? How will you come to the court and you are wearing a cross bag?
Okay.
Answer that. How will you come to the court and you are wearing a cross bag? Where are you coming from? Are you coming from detention or you are coming from the comfort of your home? How will you be arraigned in the court and you are wearing a cross bag?
Okay. That is
so these are some of the elements I've put together to tell you I don't believe this thing.
This brother here is very dangerous. He's very critical. His analysis is top-notch. There are so many points that he raised, so many questionnaires that he brought forward. Starting with the attire of Mr. Godlove. To those of you who witnessed Godlove going to the court, the guy was dressed normally like he's coming from a taxi or something. The handcuffs were there, yes, just for disguise. But whoever escorted Godlove was not in uniform. I did not see any uniformed forces taking Godlove to court, because if Godlove is in custody, then he's supposed to be accompanied by uniformed forces. He's a criminal because he confessed that he was trying to blackmail Omoto for fame. But Godlove was with this, carry pack, with his backpack, with his cross bag. In that cross bag, he probably still has access to his phones. Nothing has changed in Godlove's life. Does that look like a guy who was coming from a detainment facility or from custody? Or this guy is coming from one of Omoto's booked rooms? It's a question. That's not the dressing of someone that is coming from custody. I've seen people that come from custody. Of course, the handcuffs have to be there for demonstration to send a message that a criminal has been apprehended. Those are some of the questions that the guy raised. So before we get to the final episode concerning the involvement of Godlove and their entire plan and the court case involving Godlove, let's think about the points that the brother has raised. And let's also critique it. And let's all analyze. What was the game? What was their plan? What were they trying to achieve by taking Godlove to court? Were they trying to implicate Prof X? Were they trying to implicate Sister Ruth Matthew? Or were they trying to dilute the main case of baby testimony There are so many reasons why they could have done it, even though it exploded in their faces. But what is the outcome? What was the outcome? And to those of you who have insight, tell me what you think is going to be in the next episode. Let's see how you people process things. Let's see if you can focus. You can have a forecast, like a weather forecast of predicting and prophesying, foretelling what's about to come. Because what I'm going to bring in the next episode, it's still going to leave you with questions, but it will make some sense with regard to the role that God's love played in the life of Jeremiah Omoto. And it will also expose some certain elements of weaknesses in Jeremiah Omoto as a prophet, as a man that he is. It's going to bring a certain level of falsehood in the prophetic ministry of Mr. Omoto Fofane. I know I've already said a lot of things right now. Most of you might be in a maze of confusion, which is not my intention. I did not intend to confuse you people. But what I'm just trying to say is, let's put 1 and 2 together so that we put a last nail on the coffin in this case of Mr. Godlove and Jeremiah Omoto and this fruitless court case that they are taking one of their own to the court to go and be prosecuted. Trust me, Godlove will never go to prison. They'll free that boy. That boy will go his way, back to Cameroon. That is if he is from Cameroon. But Mr. Godlove, if you're watching, you are a loose end now. You know too much. You are now a threat to the kingdom of Omoto. That is if they give you good money for you to disappear for good. But I know people like Godlove, they'll always come back tomorrow and demand for more. I'm not trying to put the life of Godlove at risk, but at least these are two crooks in the same tennis field. So let them ravage each other. Whoever goes down first, the better for us, the safer our society is. But whatever the end may be, as long as the ends justify the means, then we might as well celebrate the outcome. With that being said, I'll check you out on the next episode of the Enlightenment series. But think about it, process it, and let's wait for the last episode. It's Mr. Pull the Trigger. I'm out.